2021 presented the F1 world with one of the greatest rivalries of Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton fighting for Red Bull and Mercedes respectively. We all know how that story ended, but after the pre-season tests and Hamilton's comments, it looks like Mercedes might not even be in the race at all. So what has changed? How have Red Bull and their star driver Max Verstappen adjusted to new regulations so quickly? And who is the new team Verstappen sees as Red Bull's new competitor? Stick around to find out. Red Bull's Max Verstappen won the 2021 Drivers' Championship in an intense battle with Lewis Hamilton. And as usual, fans would have their eye on the two the following season to see if history would repeat itself again between the two. But this season is different than the ones before. The 2022 season is a season of change, with the new FIA regulations finally put into play, and there are already early speculations that Mercedes has fallen off and that Red Bull are now eyeing a new team in the paddock as their competitor. Now, the teams have just finished all their preseason testing, and Christian Horner of Red Bull was asked as to who is looking like their competition right now. He said, "For me, the car that looks the most settled on circuit is the Ferrari at the moment. They have had a very strong testing period so far in both Barcelona and Bahrain. I would say they have looked extremely competitive on track." As mentioned earlier, this season brings a lot of changes for teams to adapt to, and Ferrari, who finished third in the 2021 Constructors' Championship, went full force into innovation this off-season. The Dark Horse revealed its new car, the F175 in Maranello, which featured a rather radical aerodynamic design that stood out compared to the other models. Matteo Binotto, the Ferrari team principal, explained that he wanted the team to pursue radical design routes and to be open-minded before settling on a direction to go in. He said, "It was important for us to be fully open-minded in the way we approach the exercise. It was not a matter of simply continuing the concept of the previous car and adapting them to the new rules. When reading the new regulations since the very start, we tried to have a completely open-minded approach, trying to understand where we may have improved the aerodynamics and the overall performance of the car." And their radical thinking has led them to an all-new power unit, which Binotto discussed, saying, "We've got a new fuel which is 10% ethanol, which changed the combustion a lot. Just considering that different fuel, whatever is the supplier, so it's not down to the supplier, we are losing more or less 20 horsepower, which means the combustion itself is quite changed. So there were a lot of opportunities in development on the power unit, and we changed it quite a lot, especially in the design of the combustion itself." Before we continue, if you found the information till now helpful, why don't you consider subscribing to the channel to get notified about our latest content. Now, where were we? During the 6 days of testing, Ferrari's F175 showed off its potential both in Spain and Bahrain, where the team's drivers always came near the top of the timesheet, a signal that the change in power unit has taken its full effect and that they're ready to battle with the two giants. The French Ferrari driver Charlesclerg said the preseason testing was his best testing so far. He said, "It's definitely one of the smoothest preparations I've had before a season. No major issues, and especially on such a new project, you always expect to find some barriers on the way. And for now, apart from porpoising that is still an issue in some conditions, it's been quite smooth and we have managed to just keep improving. For now, I honestly have no idea where we are, but it's definitely been a smoother 6 days of testing." The other Ferrari driver, Carlos Sainz, asserted that the Ferrari's smooth and productive test came as a result of the team giving priority to car reliability. He noted, "On reliability so far, I think we've got it really right to be able to run all the 6 days of testing without creating a red flag, without having a single issue on track. I think this is priority number one that has allowed us to complete our test program and arrive at the first race as ready as we can be." And Binotto as well is ecstatic as to how his team performed during the testings, but still tried his very best to downplay Ferrari's current situation, saying, "We are not the favourites. I think the favourites are the teams that were the best last year. I hope that we can be outsiders. I hope that we can somehow try to challenge them. That would be great from our side." And as for the defending champions, Red Bull are still the favourites this season, with only one concerning moment at Barcelona. While in Bahrain, on the final day of testing, Red Bull's Verstappen showed flashes of what's to come, going full speed and finished the last day of preseason testing quickest on the timesheet. Red Bull Racing showcased incredible pace as Perez topped the timings in the morning session before Verstappen pushed to the front in the faster evening session. The duo posted a total of 96 laps, taking the test total to 320 laps to leave the team well prepared for the Bahrain Grand Prix. Verstappen was asked if Hamilton and Mercedes is still his focus. The Austrian would have this to say: "I don't think so. Ferrari also looks strong this year, at least now in the tests." And when questioned about his performance in testing, he would say, "The main focus was testing the tyres we will use next week. The car felt all right and we completed the program we set out to do, so that's always positive. No one gives full beans or goes to qualifying specs at testing, so we can't read too much into the timing screens. The new parts we tested worked well, which is what we always hope for." Verstappen's teammate Sergio Perez also defended that he is looking forward to the first race of the season after a positive testing. "We have definitely learned a lot throughout this testing period, and I think there is still so much to learn. There are many areas for improvement to arrive at the best performance package possible. Generally, we had a positive test, and now I'm just looking forward to the race next weekend." While the team emerged firm on lap times, the head of Red Bull Race Engineering, Guillaume Roquelin, said lap times were irrelevant. "It was more about putting together the lessons we have learned over the past few days. It was about going through the process of running different compounds so that the drivers are happy and that we have a platform to work from for next week. There were some slight differences in the tyre allocation between Max and Checo, but generally the idea was the same: to establish a good baseline with which we can start the race weekend, and I think we achieved that." And as for their old nemesis, Mercedes on the other hand really failed to do as much as expected, and from history you never write Mercedes off. Last season, after an unsuccessful testing, the team still managed to win the first race of the season and at the end won the Constructors' Championship. Mercedes approached testing with a rather aggressive aerodynamic design, but have struggled to make it work on the track. Furthermore, through the 3 days of testing, the team couldn't balance the chronic handling problems plaguing Hamilton and Russell, leaving them not anywhere close to the top of the timesheets. Mercedes, from the testing, seems to have not found a way to manage the porpoising issue in their new car, and as far as statements go, Hamilton said, "At the moment, I don't think we will be competing for wins. There's a lot of difference. I don't think we're going to make it look as good as we did last year. The testing's been difficult. There are a lot of cars that were looking quite fast. The Alfa Romeo was looking fast. Valtteri Bottas was looking quick. Obviously, the Red Bull looks ridiculously fast at the moment, and the Ferraris." Like the video and share with your friends. Don't forget to subscribe and ring that notification bell to stay tuned.